Hello Schuco and Tin Toy fans, welcome back. This is the Tinmeister, and today we're going to go into part 2 of restoring and refurbishing and repairing your Combinato 4003. And of course this will be applicable to a lot of other tin toys, a lot of Schuco toys, of how we clean them, how we take them apart, and how we bend back the tabs and so on. And in the coming weeks I'm going to start a little segment called tips and techniques of how we actually do these things, because what I'm showing you now is just the things we need to do in the order in which they're done, but I'm not really showing you how we bend back tabs, how we take things apart. So I want to get into that a little bit more detail for you so you can do it on your own. Another thing I want to mention is we talked about taking notes of all the things that were wrong with your car before you start your restoration. We also need to take a lot of photographs, and I failed to mention that last time. You should take a lot of photographs. Use your iPhone or some other camera you can get in really close. Take a close look at all those assemblies. One of the other tools I didn't mention was you probably need to have a pair of glasses or something that's going to get up really close to magnify those parts, because in my old eyes I can't see that closely, and I really need something like this. There's a lot of different things you can get. Magnifying glasses, glasses like this, or regular kind of reading glasses. And I just want to mention this is the kind of brush I've been using. I've used a whole series of brushes. I've got a whole series of brushes in here and little parts and all kinds of things. So don't throw away any tools, don't throw away any parts. Don't throw away any parts. Even if they're broken, just hold on to them, because you never know when you might need to have at least a form of how the thing looked before, or you could see how it went into a car and all the little tabs on it, those sort of things. So don't throw away any parts. So let's get going. Let's get into part 2. And the first thing we're going to do is show you how to take off the rust and how to clean the car thoroughly. Okay, let's get going. Bye. So during this series, I'm going to show you some of the products that I use to restore my cars. And for the larger parts, to remove the rust, I use the Loctite Naval Jelly. For the smaller parts, I'll use Evapo-Rust. Very easy to use, it won't cause any harm to the metal parts. The only thing I found is with Evapo-Rust, you can't leave it in too long if it's a spring. It seems like the springs get weak when you use Evapo-Rust on them for a long period of time. So here are the metal parts inside the Evapo-Rust. You can see that there are even some rubber tires and so on there. It won't hurt the rubber tires. So here we are, we're going to apply the naval jelly onto the larger parts where the rust is kind of built up. And we take our brush and we brush it on thoroughly. It might take 2 or 3 coatings to get it all off, but this is what we do. And usually this stuff I leave on for about 10 to 15 minutes. Come back, wash it off, try it again if it needs it. And here we are washing it off, and you're saying, wow, look at that, he's putting water on those metal parts. Well, they won't be wet for long, because I'm going to use my compressor to blow them off and dry them off thoroughly. And then when they're dried off thoroughly, then we'll oil them up. But here we are, we're going to rinse off all of that rust remover from all the parts. The motors, here are the 2 motors. That's the horn motor. And this is the bulkhead that we've removed before. Thoroughly wash them off. You might need a toothbrush to really clean them out. So here we are. Now the parts are clean and dry, and we've taken a very close inspection of them. We've scraped off all that rust with a toothbrush and our rust remover solution. Here's the horn motor, here's the front bulkhead. And as we move along, we're going to make sure everything is in great order. It's all clean and inspected. And now you can see the chassis is very, very clean now from that navel jelly. And now what we use is some stuff called Tri-Flow. This is a lubricant that I found out about using back when I was go-kart racing, and I think is a fantastic lubricant. So now all the parts have been lubricated thoroughly. We've taken the Tri-Flow and put it on all surfaces of all the metal parts, and we let it sit overnight to kind of dry off. Now, as we move into cleaning and restoring the body, there are a couple products that I really like to use. One is the Meguiar's Cleaner Wax, and the other is the Colossa Cleaner. Both are automotive paint restorers. And we're going to start on the body, and you can see on the right hand side I've started cleaning it up, started polishing with the Meguiar's substance. For the metal, the first thing I try is the Never Dull. Never Dull is very easy on the metal. It really won't hurt it very much. And you should know that some of this plating on these Schuco toys is very thin. So when you use a metal polish, you have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful. It'll just take that coating right off. Now we're going to clean the plastic parts. And we're going to take those and we're going to put them in the sink. And we're going to use some dish detergent on them, like this Dawn. Any dish detergent will probably do. And it's not only those plastic parts that we're going to clean the little metal parts too in the sink. So we get some nice lukewarm water in our sink, and we use a toothbrush, and we use that Dawn detergent, and we scrub those parts. And it's amazing how nicely they can turn out. It's such a difference. So let's go back to the metal parts, and we'll use the same technique on those metal parts. And again, we're putting water on them, but we're going to blow them out with our compressor, or we're going to use the towel to completely dry them. And don't worry about getting these parts wet. If you get them thoroughly dry afterwards, you'll be fine. And what we're going to do is oil the back of these parts, the parts that are not lithographed, the bare metal parts on the back. We're going to oil them up, just like we did the parts for the motor and so on. And the next day, after it sits for overnight, we're going to take a clean cloth and we're going to wipe the excess oil off of these parts. Not just the chassis, but all the parts that we've seen. Just a light rubbing of a microfiber towel to clean off the excess oil that we found. So that's it, folks. That's it for part 2 of restoring your Combinato 4003. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next part. Our series will continue with the final part, part 3, which will include how we reassemble the Combinato 4003. Well, I hope you'd enjoyed this, folks, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Good night, everyone.